Welcome back, everybody, to the Cleveland Guardians franchise here on MLB The Show 22. We have made it through the first half of the season, and right now the team is playing really well. We are 62-36 leading up to the All-Star break, which will be today, and then we're going to get through the rest of July leading up to the trade deadline, which will be in the next episode. So as it stands now, we have the best record in all of baseball, and obviously there's still a lot of season left to be played, but it is really good seeing this team really flourish this year, not having a World Series hangover. The main reason why we've been so good is our lineup. We have the best offense in baseball with multiple All-Star starters. Alvaro Pena, our top prospect, has made it to the bigs. He made his debut last episode, even in a walk-off home run in the final game leading up to the All-Star break against Detroit. We've got some guys playing at an MVP level, and look no further than Jose Ramirez, who's put up some historic numbers the first half of the season. With 35 home runs, he is tied for 5th for the most home runs leading up to the All-Star break ever, and then he has 100 RBIs, making him just the 3rd person in the modern era, joining Juan Gonzalez in 1998 and Hank Greenberg in 1935 to have triple-digit RBIs by the All-Star break. And I get that RBIs are probably the worst counting stat out there, but it's still really impressive. He's currently 1st for MVP. Ketel Marte's in 3rd. Kyle Lewis is certainly in the MVP race as well. So the lineup has just been unbelievable. The pitching has been a lot more up and down. We're relying on some new faces here, including Rambo Rodriguez, who made his big league debut in the last episode, replacing Tristan McKenzie, who was traded to the St. Louis Cardinals in exchange for a prospect. So we're going to get through the Futures game real quick prior to the Home Run Derby. We're not going to play the Futures game, but might as well look at the rosters, try to find some of our players. We ended up with 2 guys here, including Russell O, who will be the designated hitter. He was one of our draft picks last year. And then Robert Hassell will be playing in the outfield, even though he's been pretty bad this year. Here's the National League roster as well, if you want to take a quick look. A lot of custom-made prospects on these teams. The international free agency for Season 4 will be pretty soon as well. And the team ended up losing the Futures game, unfortunately. So that'll bring us to the Home Run Derby with Jose Ramirez and Kyle Lewis. I don't really want to use both. I kind of just want to ride it out with one. And with how well Jose Ramirez is playing this year, I feel like we've got to use him. If he gets eliminated early and Kyle Lewis is still alive, then we'll switch over to him. But we're going to focus on Jose Ramirez here because he's been the best hitter in baseball, and I feel like it's only appropriate that we user him. So here we go, the 2025 Home Run Derby here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri. The Guardians with 2 representatives, Jose Ramirez and Kyle Lewis. Ramirez will be facing off against Cody Bellinger in the opening round. He hit 17 home runs, so we'll see what Jose Ramirez can do. He's won some home run derbies in this series for us, and he's looking to add another one. Although he's off to kind of a slow start, he does get a few in a row, so now he seems to be finding a rhythm after not getting anything really in the first 30 seconds of the round. It really just doesn't feel like he's in a mojo right now, as he's gone back cold once again. Only 4 home runs really in the first minute and a half. I think he could certainly use that bonus time. He's going to need 2 home runs of at least 440 feet in order to do so. He's only at 5 home runs, make it 6 now halfway through the round. Now he's starting to heat up. That one went 435, pretty close to the 440 mark. That one also 435. He can just taste it. There you go, 440. He needs 1 more for bonus time, and that'll do it, 450. So he's going to get the extra 30 seconds of bonus time as he calls a timeout with a minute to go in the round. But again, that clock does not include the additional 30 seconds he's going to get. For a while, it really looked like he was going to lose the round, but now he might advance in regulation. Can he get 1 more to beat Bellinger? And it looks like he will. 424 feet. Jose Ramirez going to the second round as he defeats Cody Bellinger. The round wasn't pretty, but it got the job done. As we simulate the rest of the first round, unfortunately, our boy Kyle Lewis is out. He loses to Giancarlo Stanton, who will be facing off against Ronald Acuna. And then on our side, we'll be facing off against Austin Riley, the 3rd baseman of the Atlanta Braves. And he hit 20. That is not going to be an easy number to beat. So we'll see if Jose Ramirez is up to the challenge. He certainly would have been on pace to hit right around 20 in the last round with that 30 seconds of bonus time. So hopefully he can start off a little bit stronger, and it looks like he is. If Ramirez can set the tone here within the first minute or 2 of the round, I think he can win. He hit home runs with his first 2 pitches, but now he's cooling off again. Finally gets one there, 441. That's 1 for bonus time. That's a good start. He's probably going to need that bonus time, so hopefully we can see another one here that goes 440 plus feet. And that'll do it, 446. So he's going to get the 30 seconds of bonus time, which he's pretty much right on pace to, again, hit it right around 20. He's starting to heat up again. This is a very promising sign as he looks to go to the championship to face off against either Giancarlo Stanton or Ronald Acuna. But now he's cooling off. He only has 2 home runs in the last, really, 45 seconds. Might need to call that timeout soon, buddy. And he does here with about a minute to go. He needs 9 home runs. Keep in mind, he does have the extra 30 seconds. But he is really cooling off, and it doesn't seem like the timeout really helped him all that much. He's going to need 8 home runs in a minute. That seems really hard. I don't think it's going to happen. He's going to need to play nearly flawlessly. And, well, he is here at the end of the round, but I don't know if he's going to have enough time, to be quite frank. He needs a home run every 6 seconds, and, well, these pitches are not coming out every 6 seconds. So it does not look like it's going to happen. One more pitch here, but it's not going to matter. Jose Ramirez loses by 1. That's got to sting. Austin Riley moving on to the final round. So despite having 2 representatives here in the Home Run Derby, the Cleveland Guardians will not have one of their players end up winning at all. We'll see what ends up happening in the other rounds as Stanton beats Acuna and then Stanton beats Riley. So Giancarlo Stanton of the New York Yankees, who just hit his 500th home run in game in his career, ends up winning the 2025 Home Run Derby here in St. Louis. So that'll bring us to the All-Star Game itself. We're going to take a quick look at the rosters, not just for the Major League All-Star Game, but we're also going to briefly look over the Minor League All-Star Games as well at the AA and AAA levels. As we start with AA, those All-Star rosters are usually really big, this year being no exception. There's a lot of guys here. We've got Villalobos, Augustus, Perez, and Stone from the Akron rotation. That's 4 guys. Then in the bullpen, we have Humberto Guzman and R.D. McKay. As for the lineup, we have catcher Carlo Ayala, first baseman Luis Toribio and Russell O. Marcos Fabregas, the second baseman, is in as well. Luis Angel Acuna, the shortstop. Rich Baez in the outfield. Kevin Alcantara as well. And then Eric Pena. So that's pretty much our entire starting lineup. The AA team ended up losing. Darian Augustus was actually the losing pitcher. As for AAA, we have Richie Watkins, Taj Bradley. So 2 of our starting pitchers along with Dustin Harris, Giovanni Carnevale. So that's 2 infielders. And then in the outfield, we would have no one, except for former member of our team, Jalen Davis. And our team ended up losing once again. So not a great track record there, starting 0-2. As for the Big League All-Star Game, no Hunter Green. It seems like he was going to make it all year, and he ends up just missing out, which is pretty unfortunate. His ERA is higher than all the guys here, but it is still disappointing because he was projected to make it the entire season. We do have Emmanuel Clase in the bullpen, very well deserved. Jose Ramirez, obviously. And then Ketel Marte and Kyle Lewis also in the outfield. Thought maybe we would have Josh Bell, but unfortunately he doesn't get in. None of our other relievers get in. Really, the major omission, I would say, is definitely Hunter Green. But other than that, nothing too crazy. Here's the National League roster that includes former Guardian Aaron Civale, who, as we kind of talked about in the last episode, is having a great season with the St. Louis Cardinals. And then Franmil Reyes makes it into his first year as a Diamondback. Good for him. So here we go, the 2025 All-Star Break, the Midsummer Classic. Here in St. Louis, Missouri, as the American League takes on the National League. What I usually do for the All-Star Game is I simcast the entire game, except for appearances made by our players, whether it's at bats or pitching moments. So that's what we're going to do again here today. We're going to focus on our players while simcasting the rest of the game. That's a format I came up with, I believe, last year in MLB The Show 21, and I've really liked it. So that's what we're going to rock out with here as we kick off the 2025 All-Star Game. The American League and the National League face off against each other in St. Louis. I think we can all agree the MLB All-Star Game is by far the best of the major sporting events, All-Star Games. I think we have to agree there. You can't really half-try in baseball. You're either all in or all out. So it's a legitimately competitive game with the best players in the league. So it should be a lot of fun here in St. Louis. This is a baseball town, all right. I mean, there's a reason why the Cardinals, despite being in kind of a small market, are one of the most popular teams in America. Alek Manoah of the Blue Jays is starting for the American League, and Jack Flaherty of the rival Cubs is starting for the National League. Flaherty got a very mixed reaction from the crowd, as of course he was a longtime Cardinal, jumped ship over to the Cardinals' biggest rival, where he has been maybe the best player in the National League. So here we go. Ketel Marte hitting second. He'll get in at bat here with one away. Jose Ramirez is hitting cleanup, and Kyle Lewis is hitting seventh. All three players starting in the game Marte as the designated hitter, and he will ground out to short, and the play is made pretty easily by the National League defense. As we go to the bottom of the first, light work by Alek Manoah. That'll bring us to the second with Jose Ramirez, the best, honestly, player in baseball through the first half of the year, and he will go down on the slider. Luckily, we don't face the Cubs really at all this year, so we don't have to worry about Jack Flaherty, but he has been utterly filthy. Jose Altuve draws a walk, and so that'll bring up Kyle Lewis in his first season as a Guardian, starting in the All-Star game as he singles into center. The first base hit at the 2022 All-Star game is by Cleveland Guardians outfielder Kyle Lewis. 2 on, 2 away for Corey Seager, and he strikes out. Into the bottom of the second, Manoah does his job. That'll bring us to the third. Trevor Rogers of the Marlins is now in as he'll face off against Ketel Marte. Through 2.5 innings, the only base hit today is the Kyle Lewis single. Marte grounds out to second, but the throw is off from Jonathan India of the Reds, and so that's going to be a throwing error against the National League. Yordan Alvarez hits a double, and now there's 2 runners in scoring position for Jose Ramirez, hitting from the right side of the plate. Hits this one high and pretty deep into right field into foul territory, and it is caught to end the inning. So Ramirez does not take advantage of runners on scoring position as it's caught by Juan Soto, who locked up a massive contract with the Washington Nationals this past offseason. Replacing Alek Manoah will be Luis Severino of the Houston Astros here in the bottom of the third. He'll retire the side with ease. Julio Urias of the Diamondbacks is in the game here in the fourth. Runner on first, 1 away here for Kyle Lewis, who had a base hit in his last at-bat. Lewis skies this one into right field, pretty much the exact same spot Jose Ramirez hit it to, as Juan Soto will make the play. It has certainly been a pitcher's duel. There have been some dominant pitchers this year in baseball, and it is certainly showing as Urias gets through the inning. In the bottom of the fourth, Garrett Cole of the Yankees is now in. He's in a little bit of a jam, but he forces a double play, although the National League does score 1. Let's go to the fifth. German Marquez of the Mets is in the game, facing off against Ketel Marte. Lines it to short, but it is caught by everyone's favorite wingworm victim, Fernando Tatis Jr. Going through the rest of the inning, we would do nothing. Kyle Hendricks is in the game. He has an ERA at 2.05, absolutely balling. Shaky inning there, but nobody scores. As we go to the sixth, Aaron Civale at the hometown St. Louis Cardinals checks into the game. Civale is the only All-Star representative from St. Louis, so he's kind of a big deal here, facing off against Jose Ramirez. That's a tough pitch to lay off, and it is called as a strike. Jose Ramirez is trying to take walks here in the All-Star game as he hits this one high and deep into center field. Go, ball, go! It is off the wall. Ramirez will waltz into second for a double. A big opportunity for the American League with Jose Ramirez in scoring position. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. grounds out. Altuve singles. That'll drive in a run. So Jose Altuve of the Astros makes a big play. That'll bring up Kyle Lewis, who hits it into foul territory in right field because that's seemingly where all of our players are hitting the ball to today, as Juan Soto makes the play for the second out of the inning. Probably not going to see any more at-bats from our guys as a lot of the subs start to come into game. Corey Seager reaches base. There's going to be a substitution here for Chakanawara. He'll be replaced by pinch hitter Anthony Rizzo. And he's going to drive into the double. Big hit by Rizzo. A 3-spot here in the 6th inning for the National League. Ketel Marte will remain in the game here. 2-1, 2 away. A huge opportunity for Marte, who's one of the best players in baseball in clutch situations. But not so much here as he flies out to center. It's been a pretty rough day in the offense offensively for Ketel Marte, who I believe is 0 for 4. Antonio Senzatella is in for the American League. He will allow 3 batters to reach base and will be immediately taken out of the game for Raisel Iglesias. And Austin Riley will hit a bases-clearing double to put the National League back ahead. As we go to the 7th, Trevor May replaces David McHenry. Jose Ramirez is going to get one last at-bat. It looks like 1 for 3 currently. Had a double in the last inning, and he strikes out. Wanted to take a big cut at that one. So with that, the substitutions are going to continue to fly in. We're not going to see any more of our guys with at-bats here. Alex Bregman with a big double, but unfortunately it's not going to matter as Tony Kemp strikes out. Garrett Whitlock now in the game on the mound for the American League as he allows a 2-run homer to Cedric Mullins of the Padres. So he'll be taken out of the game, replaced by Travis Lakins, who gets through the inning. In the 8th, George Pringer replaces Kyle Lewis and draws a walk. Doesn't look like the offense is going to do anything with the Springer walk, and as everybody else is out. So in the bottom of the 8th, Emmanuel Clase will come into the game. Normally he'd be in for a save situation, but it doesn't look like the American League is going to be in a save situation. Jorge Alfaro flies out to center, caught by Springer. That'll bring up Austin Riley. He's driven in 3 runs today. He draws a walk. Riley's been our enemy here through the All-Star break. He is probably the reason why the National League is going to win. He eliminated Jose Ramirez from the Home Run Derby as Will Smith, the Fresh Prince, strikes out. And then Jonathan India grounds out to first. Bregman bobbles it, but he tags him. So a pretty good inning for Clase. He allows 1 runner off of a walk, but that's about it. Let's move into the 9th now. We'll see if the National League can close off the deal. Mr. Trumpet Man, Edwin Diaz, is in the game of the Diamondbacks, and it looks like he will retire the side. So the National League wins the 2025 All-Star game by the score of 6-3. Through the first 5 innings, there was no offense for the most part, and then both offenses started to explode with a big double by Austin Riley to drive in 3 runs, and then a 2-run shot in the bottom of the 7th by your All-Star Game MVP, Cedric Mullins, who only had 1 at bat today, but he certainly made it count, clinching it for the NL. All 4 of our representatives got to play. Ketel Marte went 0 for 4. Jose Ramirez went 1 for 4 with a double. Kyle Lewis went 1 through 3 with a single. And then Emmanuel Clase pitched in the bottom of the 8th inning, allowing 1 walk, and that was it. So a fun All-Star week, even though our guys didn't really win a whole lot. As we start simulating here, we have a pretty big trade. The Crone Zone is headed to Arizona. Jake Cronenworth traded from the Orioles to the Diamondbacks for a lot of prospects, including Corbin Carroll. Going to simulate here through these next 5 games against the Twins in St. Louis. And I kind of wanted to play against Arizona anyways. I guess we'll get a look at new Diamondback Jake Cronenworth as we have another big trade. The Cubs acquire Akil Yabba-Dabba-Doo for the Washington Nationals. We ended up going 5-0 in our first games after the All-Star break, sweeping Minnesota and St. Louis on the road. I was intrigued by this pitching matchup, Shane Bieber against Zach Plesac, who we traded away back in Season 1 in order to acquire Ketel Marte, but I really wanted to play this first game instead. You've got Hunter Green, who was arguably an All-Star, against Julio Urias, who is Arizona's ace, and he was an All-Star this past season. The Diamondbacks have done a good job of reloading their roster. They've spent a lot of money in this series, signing guys like Julio Urias, Pete Alonso, Franmil Reyes, amongst others. They've done a really solid job of building up this ball club. The one big mistake they've made was trading away Ketel Marte for essentially Zach Plesac. Here's a look at both lineups and your starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks, the lefty Julio Urias. 3.04 ERA, 1.03 whip, having a fantastic season here for the Diamondbacks as he faces off against former Arizona Diamondback Ketel Marte. And he will line this one into right, and it will be caught. Very quiet 1-2-3 inning as the pitcher Urias will retire the side. We'll get a look at Hunter Green, who has completely broken out this year for the Cleveland Guardians. And again, it looked like he was going to be an All-Star all season. I don't really know what happened at the end, but he ended up missing out. So hopefully he takes his aggression here on the rest of the season to prove why he deserved to be a first-time All-Star here at the age of 25. Jordan Lawler, the former top draft pick, will single into right field. Fielded quickly by Zane Rowley, but the Diamondbacks do start the game with a base runner. That'll bring up Harold Ramirez, the former Cleveland Guardian, and he will swing and miss at the changeup. It's good work there. That'll bring up another former Guardian, Franmil Reyes. He was the 2023 American League MVP. He's been a staple on this team, was a big piece of our World Series champion last year, and he hits a single. That'll bring up Jake Cronenworth, the Crone Zone. Hits it high and deep into center, but Jesus Sanchez is under it to make the grab. Good inning there for Hunter Green. He allows a couple of hits, but nobody scores, as it is tied at 0 here going into second. Jose Ramirez, who already has 2 home runs after the All-Star break, is up, and he lines it to second. The shift proves to be a success, but it won't stop Ramirez. Oh, he is out! I don't know about that one. It looked like he was safe. The Guardians are rightfully going to challenge it. In real time, Ramirez looked safe. So we're going to get another instant replay look at this one right here to see what the call really should be. So as we can see here, it's very close, but the foot is on the bag before the ball gets into Pete Alonso's glove. I think you got to call that safe, and I think that's going to be a pretty easy decision there for the umpires to review and thus overturn. A bad call there by the first base judge, but it's not going to matter. The play is reversed. Jose Ramirez is safe at first with an infield single. They're not going to count that as an error because it wasn't really a bad defensive play. And for all of that, Kyle Lewis grounds into a double play. So the whole challenge and that whole process was for nothing. That's kind of disappointing. Dominic Canzone strikes out. That might be the most Italian name I think I've ever seen. That'll bring up Buddy Kennedy, who singles into right field. Buddy Kennedy is a really good young third baseman. He had an OPS at around 920 last year. This season in the 800s. He's a really good player. Danny Jansen draws a walk. 2-1 here once again. 2 away for Jordan Lawler, and he strikes out. Hunter Green has allowed 4 base runners already. His pitch count is, I think, at 50. But nobody scored, so that's really all that matters. Alvaro Pena leads off the third, and he hits this one into the opposite field for extra bases. The 19-year-old third baseman will get a double as he continues to be a very positive addition to the lineup, proving that even though he's so young, he is absolutely ready to be a full-time Major League starter. That's how good he is. Pena now at third after a Zane Rowley sacrifice, as that'll bring up the catcher, Eliezer Alfonso. He singles into right. Pena will score, and the Guardians are on the board first as they lead this one 1-0. Good work by the young kids to make some plays, as that'll bring up the outfielder, Jesus Sanchez, starting to hit a little bit better, but he's still been a little bit underwhelming this season, hitting it in the mid-240s as he singles into right. So now the offense is really starting to get something going. Cleveland really was not hitting the ball well at all early in this game, but now they're doing some damage. That'll bring up the lefty killer, Ramon Ramiro, who in like 200 at-bats this season is still not hit a home run. And we are not mad at him about it in the slightest because he's hitting 340. He does ground into an inning-ending double play, but still a pretty productive inning as a run scores. Bottom 3, Harold Ramirez strikes out on the curveball. Good pitch by Hunter Green, really trying to find a groove because he really hasn't at this point. Franmil Reyes hits that one up the middle for a base hit. The Franmil Reyes revenge tour is looking strong. He's 2 for 2 so far as the Diamondbacks have the runner aboard. That'll bring up Jake Cronenworth. This one high and deep into left field. That ball goes into the Crone zone for a 2-run shot. And Jake Cronenworth has the Diamondbacks ahead 2-1 with his 24th home run of the season. A big swing from Cronenworth, and now the offense is going to have to respond. Jose Ramirez strikes out on the fastball. Good pitch by Urias for the first out of the inning. 2 away now for Kyle Lewis, and he will single into right. Good hit by Lewis, who, with his play this year, is likely going to be commanding a hefty contract extension in the offseason, with him being an impending free agent. That'll bring up Josh Bell, arguably deserved to make the All-Star team this year as he strikes out on the fastball. Good inning by Urias, and the Diamondbacks hold on to their lead. Bottom 4, Danny Jansen swinging a miss on the curveball. Hunter Green finally having himself what looks like a good inning, but he will allow a base runner as Alec Thomas draws a walk. Got to assume Green's leash is pretty short with his pitch count being so high. The leadoff man grounds it over to second. Ramon Ramiro makes the play, so nobody scores, and it is still 2-1, with both teams getting all their runs so far back in the third inning. Let's move top 5. Can this be the inning where one of these offenses really starts to take control? Zane Rowley is up with 1 away. Count is 2-2, nobody on, and he strikes out. Julio Urias is putting on a clinic right now. Other than the third inning, Urias has been putting on a masterclass here in the desert. Eliezer Alfonso drove in a run in his last at-bat, and he strikes out on the fastball. Another scoreless inning for Julio Urias as it remains 2-1. Bottom 5, Harold Ramirez strikes out. Ramirez with a hat trick, his 3rd strikeout of the game, and we're still in the 5th inning. Franmil Reyes bloops it into center, and this one is going to drop for a hit. Reyes rounding first, headed to second. Ramon Ramiro has the ball for what feels like an eternity before finally Reyes makes it over there for Ramiro to tag him. Franmil Reyes is 3 for 3 today, but that was still a pretty boneheaded decision. 2-1, still your score here through 5. Let's move into 6th. Ketel Marte's had a quiet game here in his first return to Arizona. He hits this one high and pretty deep into right field. Go ball, go at the track, at the wall. It is caught. Marte played against the Diamondbacks back in August of Season 1, shortly after he was acquired by us, but that was in Cleveland, so he's never played here in Arizona since the trade nearly 3 seasons ago. Bottom 6, Dominic Canzone is up, and he will get that one to drop into right. As you may notice, Hunter Green, despite at 105 pitches, is still in the game. Other than the third inning, he's pitching well, so it's like, why not keep him in? Buddy Kennedy goes down looking. That'll bring up the catcher, Danny Jansen. He flies this one into center. Sanchez should make the play. And that'll end Hunter Green's afternoon. 6 innings, 2 runs, 113 pitches. That's a lot. Overall, a good start, but he's not going to get the win because the offense has not done anything. So he'll get either the loss or the no decision if the offense can score a run here against the Arizona bullpen that features former Cleveland Guardian Eli Morgan, who was acquired via trade earlier in the season from the Baltimore Orioles. So Kyle Tucker is up here with one away against Morgan, and he will ground this one here over to third. Going to be a close play for Kennedy, and he got him. Good work there by Eli Morgan, who was never all that great with us, at least in Season 1. I think that was the only season he was here. That'll bring up Josh Bell now, 2-2, 2 away. Checks his swing on the high fastball. The Cleveland offense has been, for the most part, a train wreck today as we go bottom 7. Nick Sandlin enters the game. He has a 2.3 ERA on the season, really playing well. Other than Clase, he's been the only consistent guy in the bullpen. Harold Ramirez finally puts the bat to the ball after 3 strikeouts as he will single into right field. So Ramirez is aboard here with 2 away. And so that'll bring up Big Meat Pete, who strikes out. Nice slider out and away by Sandlin. He gets through the 7th, and it remains 2-1. Still nobody has scored since the 3rd inning. Alvaro Pena leads off the 8th, singling into right. That's his second base hit of the day. So Pena is aboard with nobody out. Tying runners on base. Potential winning run is at the plate. Mr. Clutch, Zane Rowley hits that one into the gap. That should score Pena. Rounding third, headed home. And that'll be an RBI double for Zane Rowley as Alvaro Pena scores his 2nd run of the day. And we are tied at 2 with a runner in scoring position. 2 away now for Dansby Swanson. Grounds that one into left for a hit. Rowley will hold up at 3rd. So now there's runners on the corners after the pinch hit single by Swanson, replacing Ramon Ramiro, as Eli Morgan will be taken out of the game and will be replaced by Chris Davinsky, who's had a pretty good year, 3.02 ERA in just under 42 innings of work. Facing off against Ketel Marte, who hits this one high and pretty deep in left field. Go ball, go at the warning track, and it is caught. So the Guardians score 1, but it does feel like they could have gotten more there. They had a runner on 2nd and nobody out, but still not a bad inning by any stretch. Nick Sandlin remains in the game as he walks Franmil Reyes. Have yourself a day, the Franimal. He's 3 for 3 of the walk, reaching base on all 4 of his at-bats, as the following batter, Jake Cronenworth, strikes out. And from there, Cleveland makes a pitching change. So they kept Sandlin in for a little while longer, and will finally replace him here with Alex Vesia, facing off against the fellow lefty, Dominic Canzone. And that decision proves to be perfect as Canzone grounds into a double play. Mamma mia! I had to make some sort of Italian joke there. I didn't really know what else to do. Let's go to the 9th. 2 away here for Josh Bell. Still tied at 2. Davinsky remains in the game as Bell hits an opposite field single into left. I'm sure Cleveland would certainly rather win this game without needing extra innings. And it's going to be up to Alvaro Pena, the 2-2. Pena grounds it to 3rd. Kennedy will flip it over to 2nd. So Cleveland's best case scenario here is a win in extra innings. We'll see if the Diamondbacks, who have not scored since the 3rd inning, can walk it off against Camilo Doval, who's had an up-and-down season, but really over the past, I would say, 3 weeks, he's been really good. Pretty much ever since the start of July, he's looked like the Camilo Doval from last season as he strikes out Buddy Kennedy on the slider for the first out of the inning. Danny Jansen, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya. He goes down on the fastball. 2 gone now for Alec Thomas. Flies this one into left. Kyle Lewis is under it, and we are headed to extras here in the desert. No winner so far. Tied at 2 in a pitcher's duel. Which side will be able to get the better here in the 10th and going forward? So, of course, with the extra inning runners rule, both teams will open up the 10th with a runner on 2nd. No Ramirez is in the game for Arizona on the mound. Alvaro Pena's at 2nd base. 1 away here for Luis Rengifo. He's going to fly this one into shallow center, and it is caught. So a pretty rough start to the inning here for the Guardians, who are going to need a base hit from Jesus Sanchez to possibly drive in this run. The 1-2. Bad pitch, and he still swings anyway. It's a single. The Guardians got to risk it. They're going to send Pena home. The throw is not in time. He is safe. Alvaro Pena has scored all 3 of Cleveland's runs today. A huge hit by Jesus Sanchez. That'll bring up the catcher, Luis Campusano, the 3-1. That probably would have been a walk. Can't swing at that man. He grounds out to second. So there you go. It's 3-2 going into the bottom of the 10th. Normally, this is where Emmanuel Clase would enter the game, but they keep Camilo Duvall in, and it backfires badly. Walk-off home run for Harold Ramirez. The Diamondbacks win it 4-3. So a quick sort of turn of events there. Remember, there's a runner on second, so a winning run is always at the plate, and, well, Harold Ramirez absolutely capitalizes. Harold Ramirez is such a troll. I had a personal story for you guys. This summer, I was in Baltimore watching the Orioles go up against the Rays. I was sitting on the first base line. Harold Ramirez was playing first for the Rays. He threw a toss-up, and I thought the ball went right in my glove. He was staring at me the whole time, and, well, he threw it to the guy in front of me. So, because of that, I have a personal vendetta against Harold Ramirez, so I'm a little bit salty that he just walked it off. So, the Diamondbacks win it 4-3. Not to mention, he's a former Guardian as well. So, anyway, back to the point. The offense did not play well. The pitching was really good. I think a lot of people are going to wonder why I kept Camilo Duvall in the game rather than going to Emmanuel Clase. If we didn't score a run in the 10th, I was going to put Clase in, but I figured maybe we try to save him towards the super strong part of the lineup after Harold Ramirez, and obviously that backfired in a major way. We tried to get a little bit too cute with the bullpen alignment, and it costed us the game. So that's our first loss after the All-Star break as we simulate to the trade deadline, get an offer here from the Brewers involving 22-year-old outfielder Luis Medina. I say no. We go 4-1 in the games we simulate, including beating the Diamondbacks 15-4 in the Zach Plesac revenge game. Ramon Ramiro even hit a home run after like 200 at-bats this year without one. So clearly Zach Plesac did not play very well. He allowed 6 runs in 3 1/3 innings. To be fair to him, it looked like he was doing pretty well up until the 4th, but then he kind of fell on his face. So we go 8-2 after the All-Star break. Pretty good, despite a depressing walk-off loss against Arizona. That'll bring us to the trade deadline, which will be in the next episode. We've only made one trade so far this year, and it technically didn't make the team better by trading away Tristan McKenzie to St. Louis. Got to assume we're going to buy here at the trade deadline, try to make a push for a second straight World Series. So that'll wrap up the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.